Good afternoon, everyone. I'm General Fran Yvonne, the Adjutant General of the State of Connecticut and also the Commissioner of the Military Department. First and foremost, our thoughts and prayers go out to all of the loved ones who are suffering through this pandemic, those affected by COVID, and on behalf of the entire state and with the Governor's guidance, we really, our hearts and prayers, thoughts and prayers go out with them. We have three priorities. The first is the health and safety of our fellow nutmeggers, the citizens of Connecticut, and our National Guard members. The second is we ensure that we're ready, mission ready when the Governor calls. And the third is we are supporting our state and federal partners as part of Connecticut's home team. What you see here today, you'll see and you'll be able to tour later, is a federal medical station. 200 beds that we've surged, and Dr. Choi will explain later the specifics, but we had surge capacity to give some relief to the hospitals for those COVID patients. This is our main effort. Our main effort is to build medical surge capacity, again, to give hospitals flexibility. We, as you see on our board over here today, that's our current operating picture. Those are current operations today. There's about a dozen different operations, over 250 soldiers, airmen, militia members, the Governor's foot and horse guard are also fully engaged in this operation. And like I said, our high water mark today is 250 soldiers, airmen, and militia members. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Choi.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Steven Choi. I'm the Chief Quality Officer for Yale School of Medicine and Yale New Haven Health System. This is a very different time than just a few weeks ago when the Governor and our team were reporting on the first reported case in Connecticut down at Bridgeport Hospital. As many of you know, COVID has descended upon the entire state of Connecticut. So what you see here is an incredible effort on behalf of our National Guard, Southern Connecticut State University, the Governor and his office, to do what we need to do to prepare ourselves, our hospitals, and our residents for a potential surge that may overwhelm the hospital capacity. While we have enough capacity at most of our hospitals today, that may be very different in a couple weeks. We are predicting that the worst weeks are ahead of us in the upcoming month of April. So this field hospital allows us to transfer recovered COVID patients out of our hospital who can then recover here with the help of other healthcare workers in a space that will allow us to take care of close to 200 patients that no longer need acute hospital care. So patients who do require some oxygen, IV fluids, assistance with food, can come here, be placed safely away from other household members who may potentially get transmitted with COVID. Right now, we have over 3,000 patients and residents across the state of Connecticut who've been diagnosed. We're anticipating that that number will drastically increase over the next few weeks. So this field hospital is absolutely critical to our mission for taking care of all patients that come to our hospitals in the state. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Dr. Choi. And my friend Jay Moran is the athletic director here, and he's proud that right now, where he used to play basketball, we'll be able to take care of over 200 folks recovering from the COVID infection. General Yvonne, I got to tell you, I've never been so impressed. Every time I see the Guard, I'm so impressed. General just told me that this is the same group that has spent 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan. And they got this set up in less than 5 hours. And some months down the road, they'll be doing another tour of duty fighting for America. I cannot thank each and every one of you enough, how much you get done in that period of time. What we're doing here, as Dr. Choi explained, is continuing to do what we can within our control to expand the capacity of our medical facilities. This Moore Field House is going to be a big extension. We're doing the same thing at Tully down in Stamford. We're going to be doing the same thing at Central Connecticut. We're looking at other facilities. And I really want to thank the Army Corps of Engineers and FEMA for helping to prioritize Connecticut as we get ready We have a little bit of time to get ready, and it will make a world of difference. I'll tell you a little backup on where we are. We've had probably another 429 infections, I think 16 fatalities. What that means is the trend continues pretty much along the lines of what we have been planning for. And in terms of capacity, in terms of people, I think our team is working well. I was on the phone for an hour with the Unified Command, which is all of our different commissioners and departments, private and public sector, and they're hanging tough. But it is getting tough and getting stretched. And just the number of infections within our core first responders. And this is not just nurses and doctors, but it's folks who work in the nursing homes. It's folks in corrections. We've had several now infections there. In our courthouses, we have to close down some courthouses. In our group homes for folks with disabilities, our homeless shelters. Fortunately, we do have some additional capacity in most of these places. You know, certainly in corrections, we're at the lowest level of folks incarcerated. We have wings that we can segregate people out and have them there quarantined on a safe basis. We have a number of nursing homes that have been opened up over the years, so we're going to make those more devoted for folks who are related to COVID as well. And that's how we're able to expand our capacity as we see fit. I'm not going to complain about the protective gear because that's obviously the one thing that we don't control where we are most at risk. And don't believe anything you hear about TV where they say they got plenty of protective gear. I was just on the phone with all the governors. They're all desperate for making sure that our folks, our first responders, are, going into battle with the protective gear that they deserve. The gear was promised last week, and then they rescheduled for this week. And it's promised this week. And right now, we have very good authority that'll be here next week. And we need it because we don't have the capacity to protect all the people we need to, which is not just nurses and doctors, but a lot of the front-line responders that I just mentioned to you. Testing, we're doing better. And our testing continues to ramp up. We have another major facility right here in the state of Connecticut. We're going to be able to announce very soon that they'll be able to do an additional 1,000 tests a day. That allows us to test more of the folks, maybe at a Yale New Haven hospital, see whether they're COVID, see whether they're not, see whether they need an ICU room or something else. It gives us a lot of flexibility, and it's part of the triage that we need that allows us to open up capacity where we need it. We've had some conversations with the company that has got the 15-minute test and urging them to make sure that Connecticut is a priority. And what a 15-minute test would mean in terms of that person who maybe has flu-like symptoms or may have COVID, give them confidence that we're getting them into the right unit. And more importantly, or just as importantly, when it comes to all those other first responders, give them a little bit more confidence if we can roll out this test that they're safe and that the people they're taking care of are safe, knowing that they're there. You saw the briefing by the task force, the Vice President's task force. You saw the big swoop of, depending on how bad things get, it could be 100,000. It could be a lot more than that. And the one thing that struck me as I looked at flattening the curve or how steep that curve could be, two things struck me. One, all the stuff about the General Motors and the auto companies and making ventilators and the scheduled delivery date in 2 months, that's all on the backside of the curve. That's not in time to save lives. So we're working everything we can to save lives right here and now. The other thing that struck me on a positive note was that I used to say social distancing makes a difference. Look what they did in Singapore. Look what they did in Hong Kong. Look at how they were able to save lives by very strict social distancing. And people wondered whether we'd be able to do that in the United States, just given our culture of freedom and democracy. But while sadly you see the rate of increase in New York City going up and the social distancing not having as much of an impact there, you see places like Washington State and Seattle, Washington, American democracy where we are able to social distance if we take that very seriously. And you can definitely flatten the curve and make sure that the ventilators are here in time to save more lives. And that's what we got to emphasize every day. I just did another one of the executive orders. This one we just reminded people at grocery stores that we're not going to allow more than 50% of capacities. So if your grocery store has maybe capacity stipulated for 100 or 150, you can't have more than 50 or 75 in there. We stipulate very carefully that no more than one family member should go in there to do the shopping. We're trying to get the lines so you know what is 6 feet back when you're in the cashier's line. We're asking people don't use cash, use credit card. And more importantly, if you can get things delivered, home delivered and the such, especially if you're a senior, we don't want you to go out shopping at all. Although, as you know, a number of our grocery stores have said at least they'll have special shopping hours, 7 to 8 in the morning, for just those over 60, those who are the most vulnerable. I've spent a lot of time telling you that almost all of the fatalities are related to people who are over 70 and over 80. But we have a tragic milestone in Connecticut. Probably the youngest person ever to die of COVID has died here in Connecticut. That baby was less than 7 weeks old. And it just is a reminder that nobody is safe with this virus. And for those young people who think maybe they're a little more invincible, think again. You're endangering yourself, you're endangering your family, and you're endangering everybody you come into contact with. We just got off a briefing with all the governors, and a little bit of common language. Real worry. Thanks for the CARE package, the $2.2 trillion package passed last week by Congress. They say it won't start rolling out till April 24th at the soonest. And April 24th, I just heard from a number of governors, means thousands of bankruptcies for small businesses between now and then. And governors are planning to do anything they can to get that money out. And I know some of the money requires guidance, as they say, as they try and create what is the right package for paid family leave or sort of unemployment comp for the gig workers. Some of those are new programs, but a lot of these other programs, it's really important that they be able to accelerate that. And frankly, a lot of the states are really in a cash crunch right now. A lot of them have to go out for short-term borrowing. We're in a better position there. I might as well give you the good news as well as the bad news. And Connecticut is much stronger financially. And I feel good that thanks to Treasurer Wooden and Commissioner McCall, we have a strong cash position. I'm proud of the fact that we did not spend our rainy day fund. We've got $2.5 billion there. So we have enough cushion to help us weather the storm at least longer than most of our peers. And what that means in terms of hopefully a bridge until the federal programs come in. What we're able to do in terms of our bridge loan program, the Connecticut Bridge Loan Program, to help out our small businesses. You know, we talked yesterday about how others are stepping up, how the utilities are going to give companies a grace period, how the IT companies and the cable companies are giving a grace period, how as of yesterday, the banks, you saw the banks grouped in, and there's going to be a grace period of no foreclosures, grace period in terms of paying your mortgage, everything we got to do to give people a little more time going forward. And I hope there's somebody who might ask me about what we're going to do with insurance. Let me tell you what we're doing with insurance, the property casualty insurance and the health insurance. I'm really proud of these folks. They stepped up. I mean, this is a time of incredible stress, and they're offering a 60-day grace period, no payments necessary on your health insurance as well as your property and casualty. Stepped up first in the nation going forward. And I'm working closely with New York, and I think they're going to be right alongside of us doing this and hopefully setting an example. Look, we're in a healthcare crisis. And God bless those health insurance folks. Nobody's losing their health insurance because of this. If you have a COVID-related distress, if you're not losing your health insurance, we're covering you for at least the next 2 months, thanks to the carriers. And then, as you know, the the federal package and the loan guarantees cover all small business and individuals as well going forward. I'm really proud of what we've been able to do to ease the economic and financial pain. The healthcare anxiety is enough. We're doing everything we can to relieve the financial anxiety. And one last group I want to say thanks to is a group called 4CT. 4CT is made up of individuals who really care about our future, know the stress that people are under, have raised over $10 million in less than a week, $10 million. And we're working with our major not-for-profits to make sure that that money goes as a bridge before the federal money comes in, helps those that are most in distress. So I cannot be prouder of 4CT. Go to 4ct.org and do what you can to help. Because with everybody sticking together, this is how we get through this and are stronger for it. Thank you, everybody.